Hi guys, welcome back to the Pet Travel Guide podcast. In this episode we're going to be talking specifically about bringing puppies and kittens into the UK. It's a subject that we get asked lots of questions on throughout the year, and it's an area that it is being discussed not only in Parliament but obviously amongst shippers and people that are looking to import pets. Currently the regulations stipulate that obviously a pup or a kitten has to be microchipped. It then has to have a rabies vaccine, which can't be done any earlier than 12 weeks. And then depending where you're coming from, it's either a 21-day wait. So if you're coming from North America, for example, or Australia or Europe, then the minimum age would be 15 weeks. If you're coming from somewhere a little bit more exotic, then it's obviously 12 weeks, have the rabies, wait for a month, and then have a rabies blood test, and then wait for a further 3 months before you can come in. So the minimum age would be 7 months. There's a bill doing the rounds at the moment to potentially change the legislation, which would see that minimum age be brought up to a minimum of 6 months old. Obviously, if you're coming from North America, Australia, Europe, etc., that's going to add a couple of months to the minimum age. If you're coming from somewhere a little bit more exotic, then it's not going to change that age massively, because your pup or kitten is still going to be 7 months old before it arrives into the UK. So it's just something to consider in terms of how that pup develops, the socialization or kitten, and if you're looking to sort of integrate that into a family of other pets, will that age make a significant difference? People talk about trying to get around regulations that exist in the country already. So you're no longer allowed to crop ears or dock tails in the UK, and the bill that's going through will stop any importation of pets that have been mutilated. So there'll be no importation of dogs with cropped ears or docked tails, or indeed cats that have been declawed. They're all classed as mutilation, and I believe they're part of the bill that is being discussed and is progressing pretty well. So we don't have any dates as to when that may be introduced yet, but please keep your eye on the podcast and our socials, and we'll keep you updated as soon as we hear anything further. I just want to talk a little bit about the reasons that people do bring puppies and kittens into the UK and how you do it. Obviously, there's lots of breeders out there that are looking for certain lineage traits, and they will search their breeds around the world and find the best breeder for them, so that they can import a pup or a kitten from that lineage and bring it in to sort of strengthen their own breeding program. That's fine. Breeders all know each other. That's fine. If you're a member of the public and you're looking to import a puppy or a kitten, please just do some research. Work out, is this genuine or is it a scam? Lots of agents like ourselves around the world, our logos are copied from our websites, and then they'll use our name and email addresses, suggesting that we're involved in this puppy move that is purely a scam. So we get calls and emails regularly asking when puppies and kittens will be delivered that we know nothing about. Always look at the email address. If it's got, for example, Sky Kennels, skykennels@gmail.com, then that's not a genuine email. Most credible pet transport companies like ourselves will have the correct emails, i.e. at skykennels.com or at whatever. So just look at that. And if you want to go onto the company's website, so skykennels.com, research us, have a look at us, find a telephone number and give us a call, then we'll be able to tell you whether we are involved or not. And we do move lots of puppies and kittens for breeders and members of the public, so we may well, but just be careful, because there are an awful lot of scams out there, and people will quite happily take your money from you. So do your research, make sure the breeder is credible, and that the transport route that they're planning to use is also legal and credible in itself. If you're importing a pup from far Eastern Europe or somewhere, how are they going to transport that pup here? Is it going to go in a van, because that's a very long drive, or are they going to fly it, which is by far and away the most sensible option and best for your pet? So ask those kind of questions. And if they say that they're going to do it for $300 or euros or pounds, then you should know instantly that that's a scam, because no international transport costs as little as that, unfortunately. And that leads me onto cost. Excuse me. The cost of getting a puppy or a kitten from abroad can often seem as if it's much cheaper than buying that pet here in the UK or in any other country. And so that's the appeal. And I understand that, the cost of living crisis is a global thing. People are looking to save money wherever they possibly can. But please also consider that it's not only the cost of the puppy or the kitten that you're paying. You've then got to pay for the transport to the UK. You've got to pay for the customs clearance into the UK, and you're going to pick up a VAT bill. Now, the VAT for importing a puppy or a kitten is 20% of whatever you've paid for that pup or that kitten, but also 20% of the transport costs, the freight costs, so the airline freight costs. Now, that's not the total cost of transport, it is purely the freight costs. So if you're dealing with an agent or a breeder in the country of origin that is supplying this puppy or kitten, ask them to isolate purely the freight costs. So it doesn't include the transport to the airport, it doesn't include any vet work that they do, it doesn't include the Sky Kennel that they travel in, it doesn't include even the airline handling or aviation security or fuel surcharges that the airlines will charge. It's purely the freight costs. So get that isolated. So in simple terms, let's say you've paid £1,000 for your puppy and you'll bring it to the UK and the air freight costs are £1,000. Well, it's 20% of the £1,000 for the puppy or the kitten and 20% of the £1,000 for the freight costs. So your VAT bill is going to be a further £400. Now, clearly people are paying a lot more than that for both the pets and the freight. So just bear that in mind. You can end up with quite a significant VAT bill, which has to be paid to bring that pet into the UK. So all of a sudden, that puppy or kitten that you thought was a real bargain is no longer quite so cheap. So just think about all of those costs. If you need any advice and want us to work out what the VAT would be for you, then please get in touch either via socials, the website, or give us a call in the office. By all means, look around the world. If you find the breed and the puppy or the kitten that you're desperate for, then give us a call and we can help you arrange to get that puppy or kitten into the UK. But I just want to make sure that you are aware of all of the costs that are going to be applicable, so that you're not surprised when the puppy lands in the UK and all of a sudden you've got a bill for £1,000 or more to get it cleared and the VAT paid. So that's it, puppies and kittens into the UK. Still very easy to do, but there are some additional costs that you may not have considered. As I say, keep your eye on the podcast. We'll update you if the bill comes in or when it's coming in. And we still don't have any dates, incidentally, for whether the UK rejoins the EU Pet Passport Scheme or what the conditions would be or when it may happen. But again, keep your eye on the podcast and the socials and we'll update you whenever we can. Thanks for watching.